welcome to this webinar series, which is part of the Investor Education and Awareness Initiative of Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund in association with Outlook Money. Summers are here and most families would have already planned or would have started planning for a vacation now. A family vacation, in fact, is only one of the many goals that families collectively have. So today's discussion is on family goals and why one should plan for them in advance. I'm Nidhi Sinha, editor Outlook Money, and the topic of the discussion, like I said, is family goals and the role of SIPs. For this discussion today, we have two distinguished experts with us who will answer all your queries regarding family goals, including vacations. So first, I would like to welcome Mr. K.S. Rao, who's the head of Investor Education and Distribution Development at the Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC. Mr. Rao, as you all know, has been striving to take financial literacy and investor education to various demographic segments across the country. We also have with us Mr. Amit Trivedi, who is an author, speaker, blogger, and trainer, and has more than 2 decades of experience in the capital markets. In fact, he's authored a number of books, including Riding the Roller Coaster. So welcome to this series, webinar series, gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Nidhi. Thank you. Thanks, Atan.
So let us start with the basics first. Mr. Rao, I'll start with you. To explore the very basic of family goals. How do you think family goals are different from individual goals, and why do you think it is important to plan for them?
Yeah, thanks, Nidhi. It's interesting. As you rightly put it, this is a time where we all spend more time with the families because of the holidays and summer season, and it's a family time. And thinking of the family goals, probably the immediate thought will come for all of us at this point is the family goal is which destination to go this summer.
Right.
That's probably even that needs finances, how you need to plan for it. Even your vacation can become a family goal rather than the individual goal. And it's a end of it, it is simple. Many of us, when we save money, we save for our family's future. And it is not just for to make money, but it is about investing in the people you love. And that's where the money meant for it. And the family goals, honestly, it may not be fully different from your individual goals, but the individual goals can, each of us have a different goals. Child will have a different goal, a spouse will have a different goal, but collectively, family too got a set of objectives. Family want to accomplish. It could be a family financial freedom, not that my financial freedom. If I have to get my financial independence, its entire family need to be aligned. And one of us start investing and others start spending, or others will have a different kind of objectives and goals. Probably we will never align as a family as a financial freedom. And it's as a family we intend always to have enhance our quality of life, and enhancing the quality of life will come together when we have a common thread, which we have in the corporate world we say shared values and shared objectives. Probably in a family side, why should not we have that? And in India now we talk about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam more, when world is a family, and here you are a family and you are not involving the family for the conversations or keeping the common goals, and that is missing that what you call risk. It's become some kind of sanctity to the investments. And family goal is all of us together how we can put, and it's more focused way, and creating a strong foundation of the family, and where everyone gets involved. And there are two things will happen. One, you accomplish financial goals. Second, we all understand true financial position of each one of us. Third, the post-COVID world, when there is a very thing uncertainty, each of us will play a role, where to play, where not to play, and that will create a shared understanding of the financial goals. And I look at family financial goals can be, it's like the earning members, if they are retiring, then how that can be taken over. And after retirement, how you can look at, when we can say wealth distribution, and it can also be like I may have a different way to give the distribution, and my spouse may have a different. Can we align, and what is that we can do differently? And at the younger age of life, your needs, especially the children, how you can be. And today we are looking at single moms, and all these problems can be avoided when you have a family financial goals. And then that shared value, it's a common conversations. It will create a true bonding, and it will become a we discussed in a previous episodes, it is a financial dates with the family. It's where we can look at, and it's a financial plan for the family.
Mm.
And it shows that, family, you care for it, and, family, you share for it. That's where I look at family.
Right. In fact, in the Indian context, the family unit is very important than a lot of other countries, perhaps. And like you rightly said, the need is there to align everyone's needs. So, individual goals could be, going for higher studies, but once you come back, and then there are certain targets that every family has for their children, for their own retirement, perhaps for the parents, etc. So, like Mr. Rao said, that can be done by aligning the thoughts and plans. So, Mr. Trivedi, taking off from there itself. So, often we see that, sometimes the spouses or even children are not involved in the whole financial planning process. But when it comes to family goal planning, shouldn't every member be involved in it? And how can that be encouraged?
No, fantastic question, Nidhi. But let's borrow from the main theme that you started with. It's a family vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, family vacation, the whole family goes together. Why shouldn't the family plan together?
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to planning, very often we've seen in families that the whole family plans the vacation together, what activities they would do over there, what places they would visit, what kind of hotels they would want to stay. So those things are planned in detail. Now, the key component out here is, in order to enjoy that vacation, you are going to spend some money. So why not sit down together and plan to accumulate that money to enjoy the same vacation? And if we can do it together, as Rao sir was also mentioning, there are a lot of decisions that we have to take, and sometimes they may appear as trade-offs. So if I want a vacation which is different from the vacation that my daughter wants, somewhere we come together, we sit together, we discuss it out, thrash it out, negotiate, and finally arrive at a common decision.
Right.
But when it comes to arranging money for the vacation, if my daughter leaves it entirely to me, then there is an issue, because then I'm going to say, if I'm spending money, it is my way or highway. Your vote doesn't count, right? Anyway, I mean, that was on a lighter note, but on a serious note, if we really want to take responsibility of enjoying vacation together, sitting down and planning together is a prudent approach. Why people don't come together and discuss this is, I may not have gone to any of the Scandinavian countries, but I may have an opinion about what to do in that country. Right. However, when it comes to money, if I've never looked at mutual funds, then I would feel my father is comfortable with mutual funds, let him invest. I'll stay away because I don't know mutual funds. Yeah, I didn't know Austria also, but I participated in the discussion about Austria. Why can't I participate in discussion about a mutual fund?
Right.
There are certain myths prevailing in the minds of people that investing is a complicated subject. Well, investing is a broad spectrum. It starts with some of the easiest of the investment options, and it goes on to some of the most complicated of the options. And while talking about options, a recent SEBI report about futures and options suggested that 94% of investors lost money. No, that's a complicated stuff. Stay away from that. It's like going to a vacation and doing scuba diving without an instructor around or without practicing around. You don't really do that. You don't swim with the sharks. Option trading is akin to that. But investing through mutual funds is more like riding in a cruise or going to a river cruise. These are easier options, safer options. Come together, discuss, plan your finances. Investing is not as complicated as most think. Investing is something that any member of the family can pick up easily. The rule here is, if you don't understand, don't invest till you acquire enough understanding. And for that, webinars like this or magazines like Outlook Money are great tools. You can also look at some of the other initiatives. SEBI has investor website. RBI has got some stuff. National Center for Financial Education provides a lot of information. Acquire knowledge, and then put those small steps in the beginning, and eventually that journey of 1,000 miles will be completed.
Right, right. Very well put, and very interesting, comparison with scuba diving without an instructor. And of course, like we always talk about this, and like you mentioned, that mutual funds are perhaps one of the simplest vehicles through which retail investors can invest without worrying too much about the knowledge. Of course, the choosing of the mutual fund is also very important, but you have professional fund managers managing your money, unlike risky avenues like futures and options and derivatives and other things that are, that become popular because of, various influencers or other, news media also to some extent. So, Mr. Rao, talking about mutual funds, SIP is something that, that is like the simplest and most disciplined way of investing. But can it be also used to invest for family goals, like short-term goals like vacation, or maybe long-term goals? So what is that range of mutual funds that it can benefit investors?
Yeah. Thanks, Nidhi. Thanks for that question. Incidentally, this will go with one of our initiatives we started is Harghar SIP, Harghar SIP. It's we sometime back we spoke about Harghar Mutual Fund and Harghar SIP. And this
Right.
Harghar SIP is all conversation is how you can have a family financial goal and how you can have an SIP for the family together. It's like as you put it rightly, the vacation right across. And earlier Amit was talking about financial education. Whether you go to NCFE or you read Outlook money, you get there. Probably investing in your financial goals and investing in financial education both are key for the family. And before you look at family SIP or Harghar SIP, first we need to understand what are our financial goals. That's where the fundamental things start with it. And then success in achieving is always a discipline and persistence. These goals we discuss and it will not. And for that discipline to come in to automate our saving habit, the SIP is the better tool. And otherwise, sometime like this is a vacation budget I keep aside, and it could be a one-day money. But same vacation, if I plan for the 12 months, this is my SIP envelope. And this I say I put it in my liquid fund. This is my SIP money. Then I will never take out that money because this is meant for that vacation. And we all intend to go for vacation once or twice or local destination or global destination. And why should we allow our money to take vacation? We should not allow that. Even when I am on vacation, my money should work for me. The first is, I can put my vacation SIP. It could be a liquid fund, and it could be my 3 years vacation to the international. It could be something else. I may put it in a low duration fund kind of it. My international vacation fund. And this what exactly happens is it brings family can look at this kitty. Everyone can contribute to that, or it could be a reward system in the family. In organization we do a lot of rewards and recognition. Aap ye kaam karo, hum ye de denge. For the family we can say this is an expense we save, or this is an earning we got. This will pull back and pull down back to the SIP. It could be my low duration SIP. This will give my international vacation. It could be the way I look at it. And third is the biggest goal for everyone is for the family is their children's future. And when you are investing for your children's future, it could be a short term, medium term, and long term. It could be sometimes even I have seen people paying for the annual fee. They feel it's a pinch, it's a huge fee. Nowadays, it's a huge fee. I mean, probably, my father would have spent entire money on my education. I would have spent for my child in the beginning of the year itself. It's a LKG or nursery level because the fee is so high. Maybe it's an inflation. And second is, we all, for me, it's a government school, and for them, it's a private school. So, then you have this short term, for my child education, to the school education, there could be an SIP. The child education for the college education could be a different SIP. That's another way. And third, like, today for the education, most of us would like to send their children somewhere abroad. If you have that is a goal, then your international funds could be an SIP. Right. So then that's the third. And third one is we all would like to retire wealthily. That is a that retirement plan can also become a family financial plan. It's not the one man's plan. Because the why I feel is if I have a strong destination, this is during my retirement, this is my wealth I intend to create. Then all of us align to this, then we will, and this will help us. I mean, financial goals can be flexible, but your approach towards can become more disciplined. Then we all contribute to that kitty. And I mean, then to put it in a way, I mean, how this SIP works, have your goals and choose the SIP according to your goal and the fund according to your goal, and have these conversations. And when you are looking for short term, probably you don't need to look at where the fund is going and all, because you are put it in a short term funds, and there is no volatility. But when it comes to the retirement fund, probably look back every 3 months, once in 3 years or so, then look at how that is performing. And for the child education, you can look at. And the last but not the least is when things are confused, have your financial mentor. I mean, while reading your Outlook Money.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Rao. So, of course, like you said, SIPs are multidimensional in a lot of ways and can help, achieve many goals. So, Mr. Trivedi, when it comes to choosing mutual funds, how do you, there is one thing that, okay, invest in a mutual fund SIP, but there are hundreds of funds in the market right now. So, what are the factors that one should look at to choose the mutual fund or even the scheme that is most suitable for one's financial planning exercise?
So another brilliant question, Nitin. Let's start with instead of what to do to choose a right mutual fund, let's start with what not to do.
Okay.
So the first thing that most commonly happens, and what I've seen in the industry, not just India, probably the world over, is people chase recent past performance. What has happened in the recent past, last 1 year performance, last 1.5 year performance, or last 6 months performance is what people typically look at and shift from schemes which have delivered poor returns or lower returns or average returns to schemes which have delivered towards the highest returns. Now, that's the typical behavior. Though all mutual fund advertisements highlight one particular truth, and that is past performance may or may not be sustained in future, and still most of the times people take recourse to that particular data point and take a decision of switching to mutual funds. In that process, what happens is, I was reading a report very recently that in mutual funds, 70 equity mutual funds in particular, where we keep highlighting that long term is the best term, don't invest for short term, but the behavior suggests otherwise. A recent report indicated that 75+% of money gets redeemed in less than 2 years. We talk about investing for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 20 years, and the money gets redeemed in less than 2 years. So on one hand, what one should do, and on the other, what people are doing. And there's a huge gap. Now, in many cases, this redemption happens for incorrect reasons. And one of the reasons is chasing recent past. So if I look at equity market returns and assume that today, last 1 year return in equity markets has been 20%. If Nifty or Sensex has gone up by 20%, there would be some schemes which would have done 25 or 30%.
Right.
I'll put my money there. But all of us know that markets are cyclical. And from that top, if the next 1 year return is 5%, then there's going to be a huge regret. And the person who invested at the top is likely to feel, I would have been better off in a bank fixed deposit. And at the end of the year, when the mutual fund has delivered 3%, the investor shifts to fixed deposit. And from then on, fixed deposit gives 7%. And the next round of rally starts and the mutual fund might deliver 25%. So when long-term returns from equity are 15-16% plus CAGR, net investor returns are poor. So first thing, whichever approach you adopt to choose mutual funds, I'll come to that later, but give your mutual fund investments time. These are cyclical, stay invested for long term. And to put it very bluntly, the best SIP in a mutual fund scheme is the one that you start and continue till your goal is achieved. That's the best SIP. There's nothing else.
Mhm.
Now let's come to choosing the mutual fund schemes for those SIPs.
Mhm.
Let's come back to the vacation. If I were to go to Swiss Alps, then I would pack my bag with proper woolens, jackets. But if I were to go to Mauritius, I mean, I would not pick up the woolens and jackets, pick up beach wear.
Right.
So it's not about buying the best sweater if I'm going to Mauritius. I have to buy the most appropriate attire when I'm going to Mauritius. It's not about buying the best beach clothes when I'm going to Swiss Alps. Right? So it's more than the best, it is what is suitable for my requirement. And for that, the starting point has to be what Mr. Rao said some time back. Start with your financial goal. What is the goal? Divide the goal into, or rather classify the goal into whether it is the basic need, whether it is a want, or whether it is a dream or desire. Number one. Number two, whether it is immediate or short term, whether it is medium term, or whether it is long term. Why is that important? Because if the goal is short term or near term, it is better to take lowest risk. So avoid riskier investments. And that's why we say when your goal is 3 months to 1 year from now, liquid funds could be ideal in that scenario, even when you know that a liquid fund would give close to 6%.
Right.
That time you don't have to target earning that 25% or 15% or 12% if it's available elsewhere. It would be foolhardy to do that. So that's number one. Number two, if it's a medium-term goal, let's say 1 year to 5 years, then debt funds or conservative hybrid funds or equity savings funds kind of schemes could be ideal. And if the goal is longer than 5 years, then balanced funds, the hybrid, not balanced, but hybrid funds would be ideal, which are balanced advantage funds or aggressive hybrid funds or even equity funds. So you divide it in that way. That's point number one. Point number two, once you've done that, then out of that category, which scheme would do better in the future is difficult to say. So then in that case, go by number one, reputation of the fund house. If the fund house is generally known, it's not that a reputed fund house would be better than somebody else, and reputation is in my mind. It would give me peace of mind. It's not about whether the scheme would do well or not. But if I know, let's say XYZ fund house, and I don't know ABC fund house, putting my money in ABC fund house would have higher anxiety levels associated. That's about it. Number two, if I am an aggressive investor, or if my goals are the dreams and desire type, which are not the need. In case of a need, I have to reduce the level of risk and be a little more conservative. In such a case, a balanced advantage fund, aggressive hybrid fund, or a large cap fund would be ideal. But if it is a dream or desire too far away in future, then a small cap fund could be the ideal scenario. Because even if there's some ups and downs, because it's a dream, it's okay to forego. But if I had to put my daughter to college for that goal, I shouldn't take too many chances. I need to be serious about that particular goal and invest accordingly. So I would look at my goals and look at the suitability. And after that comes analysis of how the fund has been managed in the past, whether the fund manager has been associated with the fund for long, is the team of the fund management established. A larger team could be a better idea. A process-oriented fund house is generally a better idea rather than one superstar fund manager, because a superstar fund manager may be great, but like in the IPL teams, it's not the India team versus Australia team where the person does not change the teams. Consider these as IPL. One fund manager may shift the fund house next year and go to another franchisee. In such a case, your funds would be managed by somebody else. So if you bought because XYZ is managing the money, suddenly somebody else may replace that fund manager. So that's why a process is generally better. process would not give you higher return. It's not guaranteeing higher return. It gives you a consistent approach to management of the money. And that consistent approach is far superior in my mind than the consistency of returns. Consistency of returns is the result. Consistency of approach is what the fund management team can control. So I would look at it that way. After that, has the fund house generally been conservative fund house or risky fund house? I mean, aggressive fund house, not risky, but aggressive fund house. I would look at it that way, because if I'm an aggressive investor, then putting my money with a conservative fund house is a mismatch. It's like, there is a friend of mine and I, if both of us were to travel from Mumbai to Pune by road, my blood pressure starts moving up the moment this speedometer needle goes above 80 kilometers. And my friend flies low. Okay, so he's actually flying a jumbo jet on the road. He goes at that speed. Now, if he were to go in a car that goes at 60 kilometers, he'll be uncomfortable. And if I'm driving I'm going in a car which is going at 140, I would be uncomfortable. So that's my conservative nature and his aggressive nature. You choose the fund house or the vehicle also accordingly. If you are by nature conservative, don't go to an aggressive fund house. If you are by nature aggressive, don't go to a conservative fund house. So these are the softer aspects that I would look at, rather than worrying about which scheme would deliver the best return in the next 1 year. It's not going to happen. Nobody knows that. It's impossible to predict.
Right. So Mr. Trivedi has given us a very comprehensive view of, matching your suitability with the funds and how to choose the fund house. Mr. Rao, I would like you to add to this whole answer, because, we've spoken about suitability and the nature of the fund houses, etc., which is all very relevant. But what are the other factors that, what are some focused factors that investors can look at when choosing a fund? Because, there are hundreds of ratings in the market. There are, rankings, ratings of mutual funds, but a lay investor, or a new investor for that matter, how does that person kind of lay a finger on, okay, this fund, I want an equity fund, but which is the equity fund that I should buy, and how should I choose? What are the parameters to look at?
Thank you so much, Nidhi. And I think Amit has created the whole bunch of things. I mean,
Right.
probably when you look at, probably the best way is to simplify the way you invest. And the more you think, more complications it is. And when it is coming to the family financial goals, just simplify according to your goals. And your shorter goals will not much to worry about your risk appetite, because these are the goals where you need money to be more liquid. It is not the returns coming in higher, but returns coming with a stability and your money coming back to you for your short term. It could be, as we discussed earlier, for vacation, a simple way is putting into the liquid fund. That's a better way. Every like 12 months vacation, I have 12, SIP, which can start, which can give me it's a liquid fund, and I can repeat that. I redeem money and I repeat the same. And when it comes to a long-term vacation, I can go to the debt funds. Then maybe it's your international one. Choose the debt fund. Then you have a lesser botheration. Your medium duration and a simple debt fund. And other problem when it comes is the equity when you are risk appetite. But when you are investing for the long term, and if I can look at your outlook analysis most of the times, in the longer term, which fund you chosen is not, most of the funds will more or less give the kind of returns. But if you are in a confusion, the best way is go with the index funds. And it's a layman's language. You just pick the index fund. Indian economy will, if you believe Indian economy will do well, this fund will do well, and nothing you need to do, low cost, and you can look at your index funds as the better way. And another way to look at is your hybrid funds, where your auto allocation can happen. And that way you can simplify as much as you can do. And your strategy is your future is more stabilized. You are not taking too much of risk at the time, not chasing too much of return, but and SIP is giving to stay disciplined. And when you are coming in SIP, even sometimes if you take little more risk and even the fund is not performing for a shorter term, all that what you are doing is you are adding more units, and over a period it will come. And but when you choose your small cap and mid cap, just choose it in such a way whether it is delivering, and periodical rebalance can help your life. And don't make it complicated. Whole family financial goal is like why family as mod not sit with the financial goals is they feel it's a complicated one. Spouse will never participate sometimes, children will never participate, it is not my job kind of it. And to make it simple, we need to put it as simple as you create a caricature and you make your future, and you can create that financial foundation where, and here in family, what we are doing is we are investing. The best way of family bonding is investing love and trust. Similarly, best way of putting this is that love to do this and invest with that trust. Yes, mutual fund SIPs can be a better way, and look at that on it. And if you have any doubt, any point of the time, the financial coach, financial advisor, that is the best way, I believe, because who can give you that opinion and who can give you outside view, and probably he or she can come to your home and have those conversations which can make you more comfortable. I call it as a financial satsangs.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Rao, for that. And that brings us to the end of this session. So, of course, the key takeaways are keep it simple, trust your family members, involve them in the conversation as much as possible, and align your goals with the kind of investment that you would be choosing. So maybe if this year is already planned or not planned, or the way you're taking vacations, it's okay to take that break. But for next year's vacations, maybe start planning already. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for this discussion, and good day to our viewers.
Thank you so much, Nidhi. Thanks. Indeed, when you said vacation, you take vacation, let not your money take vacation. Let it earn while you are in vacation.
Absolutely. On that note, thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.